Just kidding. Nothing's wrong with your hearing. We didn't have our microphone unmuted.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Welcome to Trail Talk. You probably read my lips the first time, but we're really glad you're here. We are here today in the Garris Gallery of, I'm not going to call it the right thing.
The American West.
Of the American West, Garris Gallery of the American West. And I have friends here, Jenny and Angie, and they together are called Broken Beauty and have a, well, I don't know if that's kind of their group name, you know, but at least that's their collaboration name for their art. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm just so excited, you guys. First of all, I want you to know that their art is currently in the Garris Gallery, which is why we're in here. These are some of the pieces behind us. So if you wanted to come to the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center, these are some of the things that you could come and enjoy. So ladies, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, Angie,
Okay.
and then Jenny, and then we'll kind of get how you guys
Got
came together. Yeah.
I'm from Chattanooga, Oklahoma,
Okay.
and I was born and raised there, and went to school there, went to college at Cameron. I have a port and ag degree, and decided to get married, and then just progressively decided to get into art. And so I've had a studio in Chattanooga for almost 7 years, and been working there, trying to become a professional artist. And I started with jewelry, and I still do jewelry too, but painting is my passion.
Okay, for 7 years. So
Yeah.
when you say studio, is it strictly a working studio, or is it a place where people can come and purchase art as
It's
well? It's like a
both.
store.
It's
kind of
both.
thing. Okay.
And I also teach there too. I do some adult classes sometimes, and then I used to do a lot of kids classes there, after school stuff, but because of everything that's going on,
Right.
it's hard to do that. We did do summer camp for kids, which lasts usually 3 or 4 days a week,
Mhm.
and we do by age, and they love it.
Oh,
So we did do that this summer, and they were excited about that.
Oh, that's great. I mean, you guys know this, when budgets are cut at school, art is the first thing to go.
Yep.
So for kids to have a place where they can come
Yep.
and learn and create
Yep.
is just, I mean, I love that. That's so great. And
Yep.
for Chattanooga, small town, probably doesn't have a lot of opportunities for art in the schools.
They don't have art at all,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have kids be able to come and participate and learn about art and, love it. They're always so creative, and they inspire me to do good work too.
Right.
I mean, they're always looking at my stuff saying, what are you making, Miss Angie?
Oh,
So,
that is so
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Okay, so now Jenny,
Oh, gosh.
tell us about you.
I was the first baby of the new year at Dominguez Valley Hospital in Compton, California.
She's
So
going way back.
I'm straight
y'all.
out of Compton.
Straight out of Compton.
That's true, but I didn't live
Perfect.
there. I
Yeah.
lived at the hospital.
Oh, the hospital.
I
Okay.
grew up in Torrance, California. I feel like I should look at you.
Okay, well,
I
just
know,
talk
it's
to me.
weird.
Talk to me then. That's fine.
And I lived in California until I was 20 and moved to Oklahoma. And I've been in Frederick, Oklahoma for 32 years.
Was
now.
that
So
like a culture shock?
Oh,
I mean, not to say anything
I
negative about
I
Frederick,
miss the
but.
ocean a lot.
Right,
I mean,
right.
and you can see the ocean in a lot of my work.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, true.
'Cause it's in my heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
But small town life is really nice.
Small town Oklahoma is a
love
good
it.
place to be.
I wouldn't go back to California
Mhm.
because there's too many crazy people. We have crazy people here too,
Yeah.
but there's so few of them, you know who they are.
You know them by name around
Yes,
here,
yes.
and that might not be the case
Yes,
in
but
California.
I started making mosaics in 2001.
Okay, so after you were here,
After
did
I
you
was
study
here.
art?
I did not. I didn't even take art in high school. I was always a pretty good artist, and I did lots of crafts and things. But when I started to mosaic, I just fell in love with it, the whole process of it. Take broken things that, are irredeemable and then turn them into something beautiful.
That's
And it was
that's
right
nice.
around the time of 9/11, and, the world had just gone to hell. And I just could sit in my living room floor and break stuff and put it together, and it saved
And-
me.
Well, and I think it definitely has inspired or at least given other people good feelings
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
by being able to look at your creations.
so.
Your
Oh, yeah.
creations are very detailed to
Mhm.
me as far as mosaics go.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you have like some straight edges, corners and everything that are, and I just love the way that's all mapped together on your pieces.
Yeah.
So
Years of experience.
right. So well, 2001. So yeah, almost 20
almost 20
years.
years.
That's
And I've had a working studio with a little gallery in the front for 10 years.
in
now,
Frederick.
In Frederick. And
Mhm.
I teach adults about once a month. And I'm the artist in residence at Frederick Public
Frederick.
Schools.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
teach once a week, first and second grade.
Uh-huh.
And part of the year I do third, fourth, and fifth graders.
Oh.
And usually I do a week or two of high school. every
Very
year,
nice,
too.
because Frederick probably doesn't have art.
Frederick has a high school art teacher, and he also works with the junior high,
Okay.
but the grade school
Elementary,
doesn't.
right.
So they bring me
Right.
in, and we have fun.
Right. Well, I mean, we've had, you know, we always offer an art project when the kids come here for education. And, I mean, sometimes we have kiddos who aren't really sure what to do with a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
And so the first time I saw that, I thought, oh my word, I take so much for granted
Yes.
that, you know, I had a school box with scissors in it, and I learned how to use those scissors
Yeah.
when I was very
Yeah.
young. And
Yeah.
just all those little things that kids today don't have an opportunity all the time, but ladies like you are bringing that to the kids, and that's wonderful. I love that. All right, so it's time to get to the collaboration part. So tell me, you guys, you kind of play off each other, I've noticed, in your conversation. So just kind of tell me about how you ended up, I mean, Frederick and Chattanooga are
Well,
not,
we're 23 miles
Maybe.
right,
apart.
but
I was working at the post office
In
in
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Yeah.
I worked for the
Okay.
post office for 30 years.
Okay.
And I retired 2 years ago.
Okay.
And, but I was working at the Chattanooga post office, filling in for the postmaster.
Yeah.
And she had a post office box there,
Yeah.
107.
Yeah.
she even remembered.
Of course. I remember all that, all the PO box numbers. And she came in and we met.
Yep.
And just talked
I don't
about,
know, we just
art.
Got to be
bonded.
friends and
Yeah.
so it wasn't even about art, just kind of your
Partially, it was
personalities,
just- yeah.
just friends.
yeah. Yep. And then she would go to art shows and I would see her. And so I'd go see her at the art shows and then she would encourage me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I inspired her to get her own studio.
She did. She did. She did.
Because I had just gotten mine
Yeah.
a few years before.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Well, I mean, it would
So-
be, it could be a little bit scary.
It is.
You know, there's a
It is.
financial
There is.
aspect of it.
There
and,
is.
and so that would be a big commitment.
It is.
So-
When
And to
you're in
put yourself
small
out there
towns,
too.
there's not that big of.
No, there's not. But
You
just to
can
put
buy a
yourself out
building
there.
pretty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
reasonably,
cheap. No.
like a used car.
Well, yeah, the main streets in small towns like that especially are
Yeah.
kind of deserted
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm pretty much the
Yeah.
only one on the street now besides the city hall.
Yeah, I'm from Surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you
well,
guys
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing over
Yeah,
there.
it
I live
is.
in Duncan, but now, but you know, it's small towns. They're
It
just,
is.
it's kind of a
I wouldn't
sad
trade
thing.
I
But-
wouldn't either. I mean, I love my
Especially
little
during
town.
the COVID, I've never
Oh.
been so happy to live in the
Yes.
middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Right,
For sure.
right. That's exactly right. And,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's one of the great things, guys, is that it doesn't matter where you are from,
Mhm.
Chattanooga, Oklahoma, or California, where you end up and what you do with your
Mhm.
life, then, I mean, you can live anywhere and produce magnificent pieces of art and inspire and teach and share all of this
Mm-hmm.
with other people. And so if you have a dream like that, go for
Do
it.
it.
I'm telling you.
Yep, do it.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. So, so you guys became friends.
Yes.
How long ago would you
About
say?
10
that was?
years
About
ago.
10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And so, but this collaboration is new. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So tell us
Yes.
about that part.
You silly.
Me and Helen, well, when we were gonna do this exhibit together, I
Uh-huh.
said, well,
You're a
let's,
good talker.
you do some and I'll do some and
Yeah.
let's do some together.
Yeah.
I said, you paint something and give it to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'll do with it. I'll just look at it till I'm inspired to do something with it.
Right.
And that's what she did.
That's what I did.
And that's how we came up with the pieces.
Okay.
so-
So yeah, show us what
So
you're
like this
talking
one,
about.
she painted the cotton on a fabric that was paintable,
Yes.
right? It was a watercolor fabric or
I
something,
think it was actually cotton.
cotton, and she mounted it to the board.
Yep.
And then.
Did the watercolor drawings
Uh-huh.
and then watercolor and ink, and then I let her have it, and then
Mhm.
she did all this beautiful work on
I
top
added
of it.
the antique paper that we'd coffee stained and
Yep.
right there, and encaustic wax.
Uh-huh.
And then I poked little holes in it everywhere and made little scratch marks, and I put the rusty pieces in, and just layer after layer of wax and heat gun and wax and heat gun.
Yep.
Until I liked it.
So how did you learn that process?
I learned that I took one little online class and then I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm
Okay.
brave or
I mean,
stupid,
listen,
but
yeah.
it worked.
We repair dishwashers and things like
Yeah.
that at my house,
Yeah.
watching a YouTube video. So
Yeah,
I totally,
yeah.
yeah, I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so this
This
would
is
be a
one of my
similar
own,
process.
yeah.
That's one of yours.
Uh-huh. And that's a copy of an old photograph that I found in a suitcase at an antique store. It had an envelope full of photographs from World War I
Oh, my
through maybe
goodness.
1930.
Wow.
And I just thought that woman looked brave,
Uh-huh.
That
sitting there
baby.
holding that fat little baby on
Yeah.
the back of that car with the suitcases. I wonder what her future
Wow.
held.
I don't know.
Exactly. I mean,
Scary,
what,
kinda.
yeah, what kind of, where was she going? Where was she
Yeah.
coming from?
Yeah,
Exactly.
she had a sweet baby.
That's, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. So, so you guys just started doing things
Mhm.
together.
Yep, so we would meet once a week, either at her studio or at
And this
mine
was during the COVID.
during the COVID.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this started in the spring.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep, and we just thought, well, let's just get together once a week
and just do art.
and make art, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and just basically for our sanity.
Right.
Pretty much, because you couldn't go
Exactly.
anywhere or do
Uh-uh.
anything, and my kids were at home, so I
Mhm.
needed to get away.
Right. Been a long time.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So, I think that is an important thing for us to take note of also,
Yep.
is that a lot of creativity was born
Mhm.
during the pandemic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, people who just have it in them, like you two do, you needed a way to express it. You weren't going to be going to any art shows.
No, they canceled everything. that
Yeah,
we were
everything
going
was
to.
canceled.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we have Trail Talk, and
Yeah.
artists come on here because they just haven't had a way to promote themselves or,
Yeah.
show off their
Mhm.
works or anything.
Yeah.
But just that creativity happens all the time. And so I just love it, all the positive that
Yeah.
has really come out of the pandemic
Yeah.
whenever it seemed like really dark
So
days.
dim.
And
Yes.
good news is that their art is not real dark.
No.
It's not dark at all. So
We didn't
I
bring
mean,
those pieces.
well, I guess there is one, but I think that was a pre-pandemic piece, the
yeah.
one dark one that we are going to show you because it's
It's not
just,
really dark.
it's
Funny.
yeah, it's funny. It is. It's
Yeah.
dark humor.
Yes.
We'll call it that,
There you
dark
go.
humor.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just kind of go
Spin
around this
around.
way. So Angie, these are some of yours.
Yes,
And I think that you like animals.
I do. I was born on a farm,
Uh-huh.
grew up on a farm, and we always had animals. So
Yes.
they just have a special place and special meaning to me. So I've always drawn animals. I do have to say though, during the COVID, I did start drawing faces of people, which was really not what I normally do. And so
Mhm.
anyways, I don't know how many pieces of those, but I have them somewhere else, but they're sad, but there weren't anybody that I knew, but I just think I thought I missed maybe faces. And so I was just
Mhm.
drawing, which
Mhm.
is weird.
Just from your mind's
Mhm.
eye,
Yeah.
not a picture or
Mhm.
anything like that.
No,
Wow.
just drawing them,
Wow.
just faces though, mainly like my animals. So,
Mhm.
um,
And so is this like a print, or did you draw that one and this one? Because they look, except for the
the coloring,
colors,
no,
they look so much alike. I
No.
wondered that on some of these,
They're
if it
all
was, you
originals.
drew one and then printed
No.
them or something.
no, all of these are all original drawings that I've done. Now I do take and do some smaller ones that are prints that are like of the buffalo before I've done the watercolor and the ink on them.
Right.
And I'll take that, and I have those scanned so that I always have a black and white image of that, so that I can do something else with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Scott's
Anyway.
real good at waving us
Sorry.
over, y'all.
Anyway, so I do that, but everything that is here is originals. And the reason why they all, I mean, like the cattle all look the same is because I've drawn them probably millions of times. And when I do,
Doodle,
well,
or
I just,
just-
when I decide I want to do like the buffalo, I just drew him probably 20 times. I do a really fast drawing, like a 5-minute drawing of him. And I learned that from one of our really good friends. That's an artist, Becky Mantrek.
It's very
Okay.
intimidating to work with her at her studio when I'm doing a mosaic that takes me hours to fill in
Right.
this space, and she's out there looking out 20 practice buffaloes.
Right, yeah, I can imagine.
And the
that.
practice buffaloes look,
Well,
just about as good as the
That's
one
what this
that
one
ends
was.
up.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I go through that's the process, is I do it so many times. And then once I go through it, then I step back and I throw them all out on the floor and I look at them and I see which ones I like the best and which ones are correct composition wise and everything like that. And then I start to go back into them and do stuff to them.
So you didn't study art in
No.
college. Have you always been just a little
I have.
sketcher?
I started, like I said, I started with jewelry, but really altered art was my thing back early, like when my kids were small, like in 2000. Like I
Okay.
loved mixed media. And altered art, like Tim Holtz is kind of a famous mixed media altered art artist that sells stuff all over. But
Right.
anyway, I took one of his classes and I was just like, oh my gosh, I love all the layering and all of that stuff. And so I started doing that, and then I was doing photographs on top of all of this at one time.
Okay,
And then we met Becky Mantrek. She's a great artist. Rebecca is her real name, but we call her Becky. Anyway, she said, I'm gonna teach you how to draw that cow. You're gonna learn how to draw it. You're not just gonna put a photograph. And I was like, okay. So she would come to the studio, and Jenny was friends with her too. And so we'd all get together and we'd just play for like 2 or 3 days at a time when
right.
she
Fun.
could come.
There
Yeah.
might be beer
I bet,
involved.
I bet
Or
that,
wine.
I bet that was a very fun
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Wow.
So-
There was a lady named Lou Baggett who was on, Lou's a local artist. She was on a few weeks ago, and she actually was in a competition
Oh, yes.
where you had so many minutes to paint this whole thing, and like you're up on a stage and there are
Yes.
other people, and it was kind of that whole speed
Yeah,
thing.
it is.
And she talked about practicing and all of that, and that's what this makes me think of, hearing
And
this.
see, last year it was in October, I think I went. They had, oh gosh, I can't remember what it was called, but it was in Oklahoma City. And I have some things at the North Park Gallery in Oklahoma City.
Okay,
And so the girls there asked me if I would be willing to go and do a painting, like a live painting demonstration at this event. And it was for, I think, it was the Cattleman's Ball, maybe, Barron's Ball, I think is what it was. It was down in the old farmer's market. And so I actually did a live watercolor big drawing of a 30 by 40 horse, just the face of it, during that event. And everybody watched me, and they had a band going, and that was a little nerve-wracking. Anyway, I got through it. But anyway, it was fun to do though. I was glad I got asked to do that. But I'm so used to doing the fast anyway, so I just put my earbuds in and I just did it. And so it was okay. I made it through.
wow, I mean, that sounds,
That speed stuff doesn't work with mosaic.
No.
no.
Isn't that
No.
weird though? We both do,
Uh-huh.
it's so opposite our art is.
But the way you're able to, she can speedily
Yeah.
pop out the
Yeah.
painting, the drawing, and then you do all of the time consuming, I guess it's probably a little personality kind of thing too.
Probably.
You know, how that works together. That's awesome. Though.
Yeah.
So these again are some more of the same, the
Mixed media.
mixed media.
And there's gold leaf.
Okay, right, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that part. And I like how you add dimension, you put, I don't know if you guys can tell, this is like about an inch thick board, is that a board on
Well,
top of?
it's wood panels.
Okay,
Yeah, wood
okay.
panels.
And then how so there's depth
Yeah.
there, which looks,
Well, I
Great.
really love the abstract part of it, and I couldn't figure out how to do that on top of that,
mm-hmm,
on this piece.
Mhm.
And so Becky was like, well, why don't you just put this piece on there? And I was like, genius.
right?
The great thing about when you collaborate or when you work with other artists, they inspire you so much.
Mhm.
And I mean, Jenny, I look at the stuff she does and the colors and it inspires
Her
me.
inspiration.
She is. But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of how that happened too. I mean, and of course I love the old books and ledgers and maps. And so that's in, it's in a lot of my pieces.
So, why don't you guys talk to us about where you find your thing? Yeah, let's get a little closer
Gosh.
together here and
Every
see this
day.
slide. Yeah, where do you go to find your treasures? I'm just gonna call them treasures.
With me, I mean, I find things at antique stores. I dig in my friend Jean's backyard that her house was built on the Medicine Park dump grounds, the old
Mhm.
dump grounds, and the
Oh.
earth just
Yep.
spits up wonderful things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I go running in the country. I try to always wear something with pockets, otherwise then I have to stick the things in my running bra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get home, you never know what's gonna fall out. I shouldn't have said that.
Don't be following her around when she's out running.
But I pick up the coolest rusty little things on
Yeah.
the ground, and like I told you earlier, a turtle that was smashed at the side of the road, and that the underside of a turtle is fabulous.
Right.
And so, pick up a few pieces of that.
Uh-huh.
You just,
You're just always on the
everywhere.
search for a
It's
treasure.
Opportunity everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
When your imagination runs 100 miles an hour.
Right. Well, I just love it that no matter what you're doing, in the back of your mind, you're always creating something.
Mhm.
You
You're
see
thinking,
something and
"Ooh,
you,
that would go
yeah.
When I
good."
find rusty things
Yeah.
and stones and glass out in the middle of nowhere, I
Mhm.
kind of call it redneck beach combing.
Uh-huh, there you go.
Yeah.
That, or it could just be in Oklahoma Beach County.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not every Okie is a redneck.
No, but we're allowed
yeah.
to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
My husband's total redneck. And he's proud of it.
And he-
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah,
You heard it here.
Yeah.
that's right.
I hope you're watching. And then again, this Angie's, you can just see how she puts this, I guess, is this plaster?
Yeah,
She adds plaster and paint and
Yeah.
just lots of interesting things that get your eye.
to help it move from one
Right.
spot to the next.
Bank, paper, ledger sheets, maps. I just love all of that.
Yeah.
All of those things
Thank
together.
you.
A little doctor visit thing
Mhm.
here. I mean, it's just, there's so many interesting things on these pieces. And all of these pieces are for sale.
Yes.
So, if you're interested, are your pieces on a website or anything?
Not
Where people can
these.
shop? These are not.
No.
All right, so this is where you would need to come. You can
Yeah.
contact us here at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center.
They're in
And,
our online shop.
oh, they are
they're
in
in
our
our
online
Right,
shop. Okay,
right.
so
That's
they're,
good to know.
yes, yeah, so
That's
they,
great.
you guys can
Yeah,
let people know. So you can shop online at onthechisholmtrail.com. Is that right?
okay,
I still remembered it.
nice.
Okay, very good. All right, now we're gonna look at something that Jenny has created here. This is, my face is very dark. We're kind of in a dark spot here, but the art you can see, so that's the most important thing. Why don't you talk to us about this?
This one's called Sticks and Stones and Glass and Bones because it has all of that.
Mhm.
And that was also the title of my exhibit, my solo exhibit at the Governor's Gallery a few years back, maybe 5 or 6 years ago in
Wow.
Oklahoma,
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
And that was, so I had to think of a title for this exhibit, and I was in Philadelphia for the Mosaic Artists Conference that year, and my friend Shug and I had gone and taken the train to Atlantic City, and I found this bone on the beach,
Uh-huh.
in Atlantic City. And I imagined it was a seagull bone, but it's probably somebody's leftover fried chicken lunch.
Right, as long as it's not a human bone.
Right. I don't think it is. But anyway, I picked it up and I put it in a napkin, and we were going back on the train, and we were trying to think of a title for the show. And I'm like, Sticks and Stones and Glass and Bones. And it was like,
perfect.
there it was.
That is
But
perfect.
there's there's the bottom of an old liquor bottle. There's a little heart-shaped rock. Everything in here I found on a beach
Okay.
somewhere, except for the mica.
Uh-huh. And then these, do you cut?
I cut the marble,
Those?
with a hammer and Hardy.
Okay, see, this is the edges and the
This
corners
is unglazed porcelain.
that I was talking about.
Tell her that style though, what this is.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. What is it called?
If you take one of our classes at her studio,
there's different, I don't know what it's called. It's just what I do. I call it Opus Jenny.
Yeah, Opus Jenny. Well,
But I'm sure it's called something
my
else.
face is
But I like to
gigantic on
do-
the screen.
I like to do
I scared
straight,
myself.
straight pieces.
yeah.
And I try to never put more than 3 pieces in a row without breaking up the line, so that your eye never.
It's interesting. I mean,
lands
it's
on-
like if you're laying tile
Yeah.
in your house or
Mhm.
something like that, you have ways, or
Yeah.
even a wood floor,
Right.
you don't.
Yeah.
But this is.
But
where
This
this-
isn't, I mean, it's not like 3 this way and 2 that way
Yeah.
or whatever. I just start
It's very
laying it.
random.
It's very random, but they're straight.
So do you lay it out
No.
and then glue it down, or you,
No, I put thin set mortar down in a little area and then I just start
and you just start putting
working,
it
laying
together?
it on there.
Yeah.
I dream about that sometimes.
Right, I can
With those
imagine.
backgrounds in.
I can imagine,
Yeah.
right? I just, I don't know, it just seems, I think that would make me a little bit nervous, putting all that down, because you're committed.
Mhm.
You're committed.
Well, you can always pry it up later, but I rarely ever do that.
Yeah.
Although I have friends that rethink everything and pry things out over and over.
Wow, so you
Don't do that.
do you go back and redo your pieces or do things
Sometimes.
different to them?
Sometimes I do. I had a huge painting that I had done of a horse. And back when I did that piece, which was a couple of years ago, I had poured epoxy resin over it, or art resin. And so the drawing was not really, I mean, I thought it was really good when I did it a long
Mhm.
time ago, but then the longer I had it, I was like, the composition is not quite right. So I did go back and sand it down, and then I went back over with it on a watercolor, and so it's really dimensional looking, and so it really turned out nice. But I mean, if it doesn't, I always do something else with it. I
So-
try to.
Right, I mean,
And the great thing about it too, is if you mess up, you can just put a piece of paper over it. and
oh,
look in.
right.
Yeah, I can't do that.
No, exactly, that's what I'm thinking, I mean.
Yeah,
It's
it's not like that
so
this
much-
way.
So much effort
Yeah.
into this,
Yeah.
like time-wise.
Oh.
I would have to guess, because I don't remember.
a long-
I don't know, 40 hours?
40
35
hours.
to 40 hours,
Yeah.
maybe?
Wow.
I don't know.
And how long can you work at a time? I mean, you would.
I rarely ever sit down and work all day on a
Mhm.
mosaic, because it'll kill your neck and your back.
Mhm.
You know, I'll work a few hours at a time and I'll get up and I'll do some, honestly, at my studio, I get up all the time and I'm kind of ADD at my
So you
studio.
might have more than
and
one project going
Oh, I
at a
might
time.
have 45
Yes.
different pieces.
Seriously?
Yes.
No
Seriously.
exaggeration?
No.
I start pieces. I have the tables in my classroom at my studio and they'll be just covered with pieces.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
Well,
And then I have to clean
I
it
mean,
all
it's-
up when I have a
Yeah,
class.
Right, but still.
It's weird how every artist worked
It
different.
is,
too.
I
mean,
think that is just,
Yeah.
it's very interesting to
Yeah.
me, how
Yeah.
everybody creates at a
She
different
can
pace.
produce
different-
more art than I have ever seen anyone produce.
Huh.
It's just boggling to me. I mean, and so it makes me want to produce more too, because I see her and I'm like, oh my gosh, look how she got 40 pieces going.
Wow.
No, they're not 40 big pieces.
No, they're little
Yeah,
pieces,
little
but
pieces.
still, I mean,
You
that
know,
is
I'm
a,
always working on one big one.
right.
And, you know.
So
Yeah.
these things that you
Mhm.
cut,
Mhm.
like how big are they when you start?
Oh, these are maybe about that square, maybe an
Little
inch
square.
square.
Yeah.
And
And then I
so
cut them. Some of them are halves, some of
You
them are
just use a
quarters.
snipper?
I use wheeled glass cutters.
okay,
And then for the marble, I use the hammer and hardy.
so is there a lot of waste or what do
Oh,
you do?
no, hardly any waste with this.
Okay. And
Marble, there's a little waste with it because sometimes it won't cut right and it'll crumble. Not too bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking.
Glass,
I mean,
there's
it's a
more
natural
waste with
stone.
glass.
right, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, and then here's another
That's a
of your
collaboration.
collaborations.
She did that beautiful face. And then I
Added,
mosaicked the eye, one eye,
Uh-huh.
and then I added some paper that I had hand painted and
Yeah.
120-year-old paper I hand painted.
Wow.
And then the layers of wax.
Yeah.
and how many layers of wax do you
Oh,
think?
gosh, I don't know, probably at least 7 or 8.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with each layer, then you do the heat gun to
Uh-huh.
bond it all together and you can layer papers into it.
It's really.
We've had one other
Yes.
artist that was working on some a caustic. It was a new, she was stretching her, trying something new.
Uh-huh.
And she had different dimensions of a picture,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
as
Oh.
each
Yeah.
layer, she
Yeah.
added another part
Uh-huh.
of the picture.
Yeah.
And it was,
Cool.
Yeah.
her name's
Neat.
Eve Cornejo,
Yeah.
and it was a really interesting thing. And she was just kind of playing with it,
Right,
you know, learning how
right.
to do it, but it was,
Well, I think that's important as an artist too, is to always experiment and
Absolutely.
try to do, I mean, because I'm always trying to think of a different media, or I'll see something
Mhm.
online, because
Mhm.
I watch YouTube too, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, look, what is that pencil? Oh, a neo color pencil, wonder what that does.
right.
So
Right.
we have a lot of
Mhm.
invested in glass.
We could open our own Hobby Lobby, I swear, I'm not exaggerating.
Now, I said everything is for sale, but Frida
Frida's not
is
for
not
sale.
for sale.
Not Frida.
Yeah. Frida is fantastic. I know you have seen a picture or a poster or, I mean,
She's.
Frida's
I think I told
everywhere.
Greg Irway has a painting
Oh,
of
yeah.
Frida that he did.
So does Robert Peterson.
Yes.
It's huge.
Yeah, you know, it's just she's just an iconic,
She is.
this especially, and, so, but
I
it's
can
just
tell you that
beautiful.
one took about 60 hours.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I took a portraiture course at the Chicago Mosaic School
Uh-huh.
4.5 years ago. And it was a visiting artist from Italy.
Oh.
And we didn't know what we were making when we went, but they were gonna decide what we made. And the first day she pulled out the picture of Frida and I was, because I love Frida
Uh-huh.
and I was so excited
Uh-huh.
to do her. But I finished her face in the 5-day class and a little part of her hair and one flower and one ear, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then I came home and I finished.
But
her.
right, by that time, you
Oh, yeah.
got your, this
And
I
that was
think would be
the
the hardest part.
Spielenbergo style of laying the glass, which is big chunks and little slivers and just,
Mm.
I
How it all
can't
melds
really
together.
explain
Yeah,
it,
it's
but
And
fascinating,
what
isn't
is
it?
that? What is this stuff called?
that is
Yeah.
smalty.
Smalty,
Mhm.
yeah.
Spell that.
SMALTI. And
Okay.
it's a thick glass and they make it in Italy and they make it in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
And you
Wow.
cut it with the little.
I cut it with the
nippers,
wheel
too.
nippers, but
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
in this class, they made us use the hammer and hardy. So that was all cut with the hammer and hardy.
And the hardy, is it kind
The
of a
hardy
chisel
is a
kind of
little
thing?
chisel point thing. It's in a
Mhm.
log. And then the hammer, it's a steel and carbide hammer and it's like that. It's
Oh,
pointy on
okay.
both
Yeah.
ends.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
That is-
and I don't typically use that with my smalty at home. But
Mm.
when you're taking a class
And
and
that's
the
what they-
artist is from Italy and they say use this, you use that.
You use that. Now, have you tried your hand at mosaic?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So she teaches adult classes like
Right.
once a month. And I've done several, I think, 3 or 4.
And she's very good.
No.
Well, I mean,
Yes, you were
obviously
very
you are a
good.
talented artist and
She
I
can
would
do
imagine,
anything.
I would imagine
anything.
it would be.
I can't do math.
Oh.
I'm not good at that either.
See, so
I'm not
some
good at
people can
everything.
do math and some people can create things that you like to look at. No one likes to look at a math.
When
picture.
I've tiled the floor before, I tiled my
Yes.
bathroom floor at
Yes.
my house, and this is where Mosaic helped me with the math, because I was like, okay, I'll go tiles to here, and then screw it, I'll just do a mosaic right there.
That would be.
I don't have to do
math. My
I figured
husband
that
laid out got a CAD program on his computer and laid out our floor
Oh,
on
my
a CAD. Yeah,
gosh.
so,
Yeah, see,
yeah.
I'm not
honey, I
good
love
at
you,
math.
but
Yeah.
Math is
man,
not good for me.
yeah, that was like, it kind of does squelch the creativity a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep.
At our house, it's just if you can fit in with the parameters of
Yeah.
the specific,
Yeah.
drawing or whatever. This one,
It's very simple.
it is, but it's very,
Beautiful.
I mean, this is like Zen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And these are probably all from Colorado.
Mm.
We go to Gunnison, Colorado every year in September, right along the
Uh-huh.
Gunnison River, and I'm always picking up
Is
rocks.
this
That is
concrete?
thin set,
Thin set,
thin
okay.
set mortar and unglazed porcelain.
It's beautiful.
It
I
is
mean, it
pretty.
really
Thank
is
you.
just a very pretty and calming.
The colors
Makes
are
you
really.
wish you had like one of the little fort,
Yeah.
the little rake,
Like
you
a
know?
Zen garden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me think of. And now this is something that looks, this is different,
It
Angie,
is.
from the
It
other
is.
pieces of
It
yours. Come and
is.
stand here in the light where
It
they
is.
can see you while you're talking about that.
It is. Some of my pieces are watercolor, some of them are ink, and some of them are mixed together. This one is majority of ink.
Really?
Yeah, so it is different, and there's not any paper on it. I didn't want to, I don't know, my cousin, he has beautiful cactus out where he has his house or his land, and he's always taking pictures of them. And so this is from one of his photographs. And I've always loved cactus. And so it doesn't have paper. It's not mixed media, anything like that. It's on paper, but it's ink. This one is.
So,
and it's different.
How do you apply the ink to
Well,
make it
it's
look?
like watercolor kind of. So you layer it on with the brush and then you hit it with water and you move it
Okay.
around.
That,
And
I thought
so-
it looked like it had a water effect. There's some places that look a little like water spots.
Yep. And so and the color is so much more brilliant with the inks than I have figured out how to do the watercolor yet, because I'm still kind of playing around with that, like we talk about experimentation.
Mhm.
So I'm always looking at different things and different products. And so I like watercolor, but I also like the ink too because of the intense color that it likes
And
to
so
give.
are there special pins then?
Actually-
Or you use a brush?
I use the brush for the main big pieces, but for like the little small pieces, I actually use like a pin that you dip it in, like the
Oh, like the quill kind
yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not a feather, but it's like, I guess, is that what they're called? The metal pieces that fit into the pin?
Yeah, I don't know
Is
what
it a
those are.
nib?
I don't know.
I don't know what that's called.
But
If you
On
know,
a
you can,
calligraphy pin, it's
if-
called a nib.
is it? Well, that may be
yeah,
what it is.
maybe it's a nib. If we're wrong, someone tell us.
Yeah.
The
put it
comments
on
are there. Put it on there.
Yeah, I do that with that. And I like those straight, hard lines too. So
Right.
with that pen, and then it goes with the soft.
So when you use ink, so I think it's oils, you put the light first and then the dark colors. That's right, that in that order. But like
I don't know.
acrylic dries so
Okay.
fast, or you can put the darker colors, then you can go over the top with the lighter colors.
Right.
So
This
what's
was
the
light,
is?
well, light and then the darks on top is how I did it. I don't know
Okay.
if that's right or not, but that's the
Well,
way I do
I mean,
it.
I think it just
Yeah.
depends on if you can, if it's going to cover it or not. If a lighter color is going to cover a dark color or not.
Right,
Um,
right.
And is
And
this
these are all, I guess you would say they're transparent. They're not opaque.
no, right.
So yes,
Right.
you're exactly right on that.
And so does it take a while to dry, or is this a fast
It's
drying
fast.
medium?
It's fast, real fast, actually.
Well, it is.
So you have to work, and so some of the pieces, like this piece is done on fabric, but you can't tell it. And like the face was done on fabric too.
Mhm.
So I've been experimenting with fabric and paper, trying to figure out which one I like the best. And I like them both, but they both react differently too, to the ink, how it moves and how it works. So
Well, and this has the acoustic, or
Yes.
the layers of wax,
yeah, the
right?
wax on top
So
of it.
was it as bright as this one?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay.
And it got the deep dark color because of the
Mhm.
stain. She
Mhm.
wiped this, what is it
Oh,
called?
it's an oil stick,
Yeah.
RNF oil sticks. I
Yeah.
carve into, when I'm all done with the waxing, I poke little holes and carve and put words on there sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And then I go over it, I get that oil stick and
And rub
dig
it in,
it
that's what
down
makes
and
the dark.
rub it in there. And then I wipe it off with a cloth with some linseed oil.
And that's what creates the
Mhm.
dark.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, all the lines.
And this
the
one
dots.
has mosaic
Mhm.
Yeah.
and a pottery bird that I made.
Yeah.
And I actually took this to Colorado with me this year to finish. It was our last
Oh, yeah.
piece, our last collaboration.
Ah, for this show.
And a
Yes.
bird lost one of his feathers right there by our
Oh.
cabin, so I put his feather in there too.
And so is this attached to the fabric, these
Yes.
pieces?
They're just
And so
glued
they
in
have
and then there's the
all
layers
the-
of wax
all the
over
wax
them.
over the top.
And I've never seen anybody do encaustic over a mosaic before.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
It was
maybe-
kinda
maybe
new.
I invented it.
Well, you know, we might have a Jenny Perry original thing here, so,
But you know, that was one of those late night, I wonder if I could,
Uh-huh.
you
You
know,
did this.
I keep a
Right.
notebook by my bed
Right.
for those
Scene
brilliant
first, right here on
ideas.
Trail Talk at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center. We're gonna all take credit for this one, Jenny. This is awesome. This is awesome. Ingenious. Okay, and is this another paper like that one, or?
Actually, this is a mat board, I guess that's what they call it, or canvas board, but it's watercolor, it's a watercolor fabric that's on top of it. Does that make sense?
So it's a
Like
special
it's-
fabric that you use watercolor paint?
Yes, yeah,
with. Okay.
yeah. So, but it's ink. That's all ink though too.
Okay.
So it looks totally
It
different.
does, it
The
does. It
colors aren't
reacts-
as rich. I mean, the colors are the same colors, honestly. They're almost the same.
Mhm.
But you can see how different they are by the way the paper just took in that orange and that red. And it didn't so much here, it just kind of ran.
Right.
I mean, in honesty, this one's probably my favorite.
You like the little bit muted?
Yeah, I do,
Uh-huh.
I do. I mean, I like the bright color, but
Right.
just my preference, I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, I think
They're both good, but
It-
they're just different.
wouldn't they all look cool in arrangement though?
Yes,
I mean,
they
just
would.
the three
Right.
different
Yes.
looks of the cactus. That's a great one. And this one, this is for those of you who like super organized looking things. This
It's
is
kind
like,
of a quilt.
yeah,
It is a quilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's just, you know, I like everything. I like vitreous glass, I like smalty, I like beads, I like rust, and I like stones and pearls. And sometimes when you like everything, you can make something that has everything in it.
Right, right.
Kind of
So
like a quilt.
I've
Exactly.
done, I don't know how many of these quilty pieces,
A
Really?
bunch.
but they're very popular.
A
And I
bunch.
always sell them.
Yes.
I do them in the aqua colors or the
Red.
reds and blacks.
Oh,
And
okay.
I they're fun.
We don't have any of your reds and
Mm-mm.
blacks here,
No.
do we?
No.
Just these?
She doesn't
I don't
have
know
any.
if I have any.
Oh, you've sold
Don't
them.
have
I'll
any.
make 2 or 3 and I'll just go.
Yeah.
So, do you have your pieces in a gallery somewhere? You said you have some in a
She has some
gallery.
in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma
I
City.
do not right now.
You do not?
Just because I don't go to galleries and ask.
Yeah.
I'm just.
So how
you
do
know.
you sell your pieces?
I sell my pieces at 2 or 3 art shows a year that I do.
Okay.
I have a Christmas show at my studio every year, the
And
first
then
Saturday in
Facebook too.
December.
Mhm.
Facebook, I'll post work in progress, and a lot of times I'll have the piece sold before I finish it. Not every
Oh.
time, and I have plenty to sell at the studio.
Yeah.
So your personal Facebook,
And
Page, or
and
you have an
my
art-
studio Facebook page.
which is called
Facebook.com/Jenny Perry Mosaics.
Jenny Perry Mosaics. Do you have a Facebook page you use also?
I do. I have my
Olga's
personal
Nest.
page and then my Olga's Nest page, which is,
Olga's Nest.
that's
Okay.
the name of my studio in Chattanooga.
Okay.
So,
All right.
It's not my name. It's different.
It's not Olga.
It's different.
Yeah. Okay, now, here's this is the dark humor piece. We're a little bit fuzzy. I hope we're more clear on what you guys are seeing. But this is called He Had It Coming. I'm gonna let Scott try to get in there close where you guys can see these faces. Notice that they've all been, these are mug shots. They all have their numbers
It's
on them.
it's the lines from the song He Had It Coming, or the Cell Block Tango from the play Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And it's the last line in each of the ladies' little soliloquies that they said. But this is my favorite one. And then he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 10 times. And they'd all killed their husbands or their boyfriends.
Uh-huh.
And they were all telling their story.
Oh,
And
yeah, this piece is just the best. It is just. So
and they don't
good.
look like any of the people from the movie or the
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
But I don't know. I had the flu a few years ago and I just drew and painted faces until I didn't have
So
any
you
faces left.
just made up faces
I
like
just
Angie?
made
You
up
said you
faces. I
made up
don't look at
faces?
anything. I
Yeah.
just start, and then it's so funny because I'll do their faces and they'll all be bald. And it's like, okay, what kind of hairdo will I give her? It's like paper dolls.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
the old
Like
paper
paper
dolls where
dolls.
you put the different
And
hairdos on.
and it changes them when you put the hair on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
this one's fun.
angry at my husband when I made this. And he said, don't you be getting any ideas. He's still living.
Yeah. Yeah, he survived this.
He survived.
Fortunately, she was able to create art
That's right,
instead
that's
of
right,
commit a
right.
crime.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, so we have some more, just some.
Encaustic in a mosaic.
Yeah, okay.
Encaustic, and that's
Uh-huh.
mine and Angie's together with her abstract background.
Yeah.
And then my encaustic.
So is this like you laid lace or doilies or something
It's
on there?
actually a stencil.
Oh, okay.
So I have a couple of stencils and that one was a new one and I loved that because I have
Mhm.
a
It-
passion for lace too. I
It
mean,
looks like a doily.
Yeah, it does.
Has
It
laid on
does.
there.
So,
That's really, and you just found a feather
I
somewhere.
Get those feathers up when I'm walking.
yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say go dump your trash at Jenny's house, but I mean, she might put something you had.
You
Yeah,
do often
too.
do that though.
It's funny when I go to my studio, some days there'll be a little bag.
Of
You know,
stuff.
maybe once a month, there'll be a little bag at my front door and it'll have somebody's treasured little
Yeah.
dish that they broke. But they know where to bring it.
Uh-huh,
They bring it to my studio.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
they do
that's
that
cool.
at my studio too with books
Yeah.
because I use a lot of ledgers
All
and
those
everything. And
pages,
so
like these.
boxes and boxes of books
Ah.
get dropped off.
So do you just, like when you're, come over here where the light is, there we go. So when you, pick out your things that are you looking for a specific?
Some, I used to not, but the more I keep doing it, the more I start adding things that I want to put on there. And I've got so many supplies now and books that I
Mhm.
can do that. I can actually find, I can't read what's on there because I don't have my glasses on, but.
Well, this one probably
Yeah,
maybe
it
has
says
jackrabbit.
jackrabbit in it.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah,
And we're
So-
studying jackrabbits right now in our
Nice.
education program.
nice.
So we should show the kids the
Yeah,
jackrabbit
yeah.
here.
So there's watercolor on that one, and
Uh-huh.
I always start with a graphite pencil. It's water soluble, it's a big one.
Mhm.
And like I said, I do 10s to 20 drawings of it.
Mhm.
And so the great thing about that though, is once I do the drawing, then I hit it with a brush with water. And then I start figuring out, okay, is that right? What line here goes here? That needs to be there. And so that kind of gives it that watery look first. And then I go back once it's dry and go back over it with the watercolor. And then some of this really dark line, I think that's ink, like black ink.
Okay,
So,
and like the whiskers and things like that, are that watercolor?
no, they're the ink with
That-
that pen
with
or
that
that
pen.
nib or whatever you call it.
Right.
That pencil.
I know,
so.
this is hair. This is the
Mhm.
definition of the word hair. Like the rabbit.
The
hair,
rabbit
that-
hair.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That is just, I mean, I was wondering, about
Well,
how you picked things
well,
like that.
and two, when I was I'm the world's worst about naming my pieces. She is the world's best at naming her pieces. She comes up with, she's just a wordy, beautiful
Mhm.
person.
Aww.
She can just put things together with words, and I'm
Right.
not good at that at all.
Right.
And so when I was looking at my pieces, I was like, what am I gonna name all these pieces? And I tend to do like several pieces like this, like 4 or 5 at a time. And so anyway, and I always add these big circles to them when I do my abstracts now. I don't know what that's about, but I just like the way it looks with all the color. And so that's how I came up with the name, was the Circle of Life, because of the animals.
Right. Now, the gold leaf, how do you put that on there?
Well, just like you would anything that you gold leaf, you have an adhesive that you lay on there, and then that's an actual feather, a stencil feather that I put on
Okay,
there.
a stencil feather. Okay.
Yeah, and so I draw the feather out, and then I lay the adhesive down and let it sit, because you have to let it sit for a little bit, and then make it tacky, and then I lay the gold leaf on top of
the
it.
sheet on there. And
Yeah.
I suddenly had a vision of a lady who used to be on TV, used to antique everything with that gold leaf, and then she hit it with the end of the brush and add the black stuff to it.
Yep. And the feathers, so the very first piece is the one with the raven or the crow, whatever. And I did a black feather on it, and I thought, because I knew I was gonna put gold leaf on them, because I always do, and I normally try to put them where the animals are. And so I thought, I'll just run that feather all the way through all those pieces so that they all kind of, because it's all the same.
It's a collection.
It's the collection or the series. So I went ahead and added the feathers to all of the pieces, which
Very nice.
I love feathers.
Yeah.
And Olga's nest, it goes back to my nest.
There you go. There you go. I think that the feathers just add just a nice little, I don't know, just a little pop
Different.
to it.
I mean, I've never seen anything quite like what I do. It's pretty.
No.
I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, but
Well,
it's really different, but it's more me than anything I've ever done, honestly.
Right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's where you come to, right? As an artist, you learn more about yourself as you create things, and then you find that place.
Yeah.
And then from what I understand, artists like to stretch themselves and find new things to do.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
so then you,
Well, we've done pottery together. I mean, and then I do jewelry too, and I've added pottery to my jewelry. I mean,
I've added
We're
pottery
all-
to my mosaic.
yeah, to her mosaics,
And
like the bird
the
over
bird,
there. So I do think that you're always experimenting. I mean, you're always trying new things, because your creative mind just, it wants that, to find something new and different to do.
So
Kind of ADHD.
you've tried mosaic. Have you tried?
Yeah, but I'm not.
It's not.
Because I always go back to, okay, make my faces the way I like to make, and they're kind of, I don't know if they're cartoony. I don't
No,
know.
I don't think
I
so
don't
at
know.
all. I think that your faces are just like your mosaics.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
they're
there's
very
one right-
structured, like your
right here.
mosaics are,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
You don't do loose. You
I
never
don't
have.
do loose.
You never
Yeah,
have.
no, that's right.
That's
Where
not
your
what she
lines-
does.
Yeah, and where
Yeah.
hers are.
Yeah.
The
I've
water.
tried,
Mhm.
but it
Just
just
doesn't-
goes right back to.
And then here's one that you guys did together. So how did you do this fabric?
So that one, I painted it before we did anything to it. So it was just a
Yeah,
piece
you
of,
guys come up there. You guys.
it was just a whole piece of fabric. And
Uh-huh.
so I'll tell you the truth, I didn't like it. And she was like, so
I loved it. I loved the colors of it.
well, I did too, but I just didn't think the design on it was not right. So then I just ripped it and shredded it because it was fabric. And so then I started trying to, like paper, laying it
Right,
out, trying to
uh-huh.
figure out a way. And then she was like, let's do this. And so she said, let's put the mosaic in the spaces. And I was like, that's genius.
Mhm. And the way you put the fabric up the sides of the
Yes.
mosaic, so
Yeah.
the frayed edges are,
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can really tell
Visible.
that it is fabric.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I called it frayed.
So does she name the ones that you guys
Yeah.
collaborate on?
Uh-huh.
I get to name all pets at my house too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving.
Are we gonna go all the way around?
Well, we're kind of headed that way. Do we need to? Okay. Yeah. Oh, we're good. We're
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So here we just have, we don't have to spin it, but here's a longhorn.
Right.
with the gold leaf, the circle, so, you know, the,
That was an older piece. It's not the same series as the other animals that I
okay,
did. So
okay.
when I first started doing the layering effect, this was one of the first pieces I did. And
Uh-huh.
I called it Awake because I finally was awake and saw I just thought, this is me.
Right.
I finally figured it out.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah, yeah,
Which is kind of weird, but anyway.
yeah. And then here's another collaboration piece with
Fabric
fabric
and paper.
and just the
That was on
acoustic.
tile. I
Yeah.
used a tile and I poured plaster on top of the tile. And then I layered paper, buttons, and that is actually a dried pansy from my previous house. I probably picked that pansy 20 years ago and pressed it in a book. And then I uncovered all these, I don't know, 6 months ago.
Really?
I had a whole bunch of dried pansies and I thought, oh, I should use
what?
those.
Yeah.
How fun.
You never know what you're gonna find at my house.
Oh, and this is another, is this
Another, that's,
acoustic?
encaustic in a mosaic.
Encaustic
Mhm.
in the mosaic.
Mhm.
And, okay, so this is a little bit smaller, Circle of Life, but you have
Yeah.
your same circles
Right.
and,
Some of them have feathers, and then this is
Mhm.
another collaboration. And she did the mosaic and the face. And then
In the
another
face,
beads.
it's an epoxy clay, and I rolled it out, and then I took one of her face stamps that she had, and I dipped it in the ink, and I pressed it into the clay, and then when the clay dried.
Uh-huh.
And then I
oh,
did the beads around it.
that is a really, what a fun idea.
Mhm.
Had you done that before? You just
No.
just
I
kind
was
of playing
Just
around?
playing.
Wow, I love it. I love it. These ladies are so creative. They use things that they find, you know, different places or maybe that they have at their house. So
Or things that people would just throw away or
Right.
don't cherish.
I keep in my head, one man's trash is another man's
Yes.
treasure. Just
Right. Yeah,
keeps popping up.
yes.
Okay, he wants us to
Okay.
be close together again. I love the fox.
Oh,
I do. Don't you love the fox?
I do.
I
I
do.
love his
Face.
face, color, his face,
Yeah.
everything. Yes. I
He
think
looks like a
he's
sweet
great.
fox,
He's
but
not
if you
a-
touched him, you would probably bite your finger.
Well, she's got the word cunning up
Uh-huh.
here on one of the
Yep.
pieces of paper that she's added.
Yep.
But yeah, that is a great one. And then we've got two of Jenny's smaller.
Little quote pieces. I like to
Yes.
make pieces with my favorite quotes.
Now, did you
And then
create
I
that
did,
little
and the
bird?
paintbrush
And the
also.
paintbrush,
Mhm.
okay. Nice, nice, you were wild once, don't let them tame you. That's good.
Yep.
That's really good.
Yep.
And then here we're just making our way more collaborate, there's another Jenny's and then some more collaboration pieces. I did
Yes.
think that this one was especially cool.
Mhm.
I like the little, what are those, little beads
Those
or
are
something?
little pieces of millefiore.
Which
I
They
don't know
make
what that is.
millefiore in Murano, Italy. It's a glass rod, and then, they,
Oh,
have you ever
like
seen how
layer
they
that
make it?
Yeah.
and roll,
And they roll it out, and then they cut it. I guess they fire it, and then they cut it.
nice,
like
that's
little eyes,
cool,
don't
they
they?
do,
Yeah.
yes, they do, and then this,
That's just a piece of copper, I believe.
oh, that has
That's
patina on
turned-
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and then I put the wax over it.
wow.
And
Well,
the
it's,
feather.
yeah, it's a great, I love these little, you know,
They're sweet.
you can put these places that are just like little,
Yeah.
oh, you're cute, what is that, you know, just little.
And
things
that's a
like that.
rose rock that I bought right here at the gift
Oh,
shop at the
uh-huh.
Chisholm Trail Heritage
Yeah.
Center.
Right, and as
So
you,
that's a floral piece for that deer.
okay, so right on her little head and
Yes.
there,
Yep.
and so you know, if you've been watching Trail Talk, it's our state rock.
That's right.
The
That's right.
Rose Rock.
Rose rock.
And then we're around here, about to finish the tour with a wall of Jenny Perry originals.
Thank you.
Beautiful mosaics. Again, this one gives me a little Zen feeling when I
This-
see it.
This, I made the
Yes.
pottery substrate,
Oh, okay,
and then I've got
And-
several of them at home that are just waiting for me to
to fill
fill
them,
them in.
fill them with your,
And that one I did too.
I was
That's
just about to ask
pottery.
if that little
Uh-huh.
one over there was
Yeah, but we've
also.
got vintage buttons and
stones and a piece of my favorite pottery bowl that broke.
Oh.
That's the good thing about being
It
a
lives
mosaic
on.
artist is
Uh-huh.
if you break something, it's not gone
It's-
forever. It just changes.
It
just
lives
adds.
on.
It lives on.
Yeah.
Must be added
And
somewhere.
rusty, like these right here are rusty pipe fittings that I bought at an antique store on the coast of Maine a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Just a whole string of them.
Uh-huh.
Treasure. I'm like, how
And-
much for these? And he's like, $5. I'm like, oh yes, do more.
I'll take,
I want
I'll take
them
all you have.
But I have marble and unglazed porcelain. This is chrysocolla rock
Uh-huh.
stone from Mexico. It's kind of a soft
And
rock.
that's the color.
And it,
of
yeah,
it?
it looks like turquoise.
And are
then
those
white
crystals?
gold, smalty, these are crystals.
Wow.
And then tell her about the white gold too.
The white
On-
gold, it's a white gold smalty and they take gold leaf and they put it on a thicker piece of glass. And when I was in Venice, taking a mosaic class, how many years ago was it? 12 years ago, maybe, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. We took a week-long class, me and three of my other artists friends, mosaic artist friends. And they were making the gold smalty there that week. And they blew these big bottles that were super thin. And then they would carry those bottles into this room and these little ladies with their little gray uniforms would break those bottles into little squares, just the thinnest glass ever. And they would take the gold leaf and put it on a thicker slab of glass and then put that thin glass on top and run it through the oven again, where the thin glass melted on top of the gold leaf, and then they cut it into squares. And then that's why it's so expensive.
Wow, what
So
a
I use it
process.
sparingly, but
Right.
then I cut it down. It's usually pieces about yay big,
Uh-huh.
like a penny sized maybe, or
Right.
a little bit smaller, and then I nip them into smaller pieces.
Oh,
And it
wow.
comes in all colors too.
Yeah, it comes in a lot of different colors.
So
And
is,
gold too.
is this color on top, that's the color of glass that they made into the thin?
That's probably a clear piece of glass on top, but the bottom glass is blue. If you look at it from
Oh,
the side, you
okay.
can kind of see the blue underneath.
Okay, all right.
It's
Wow.
really interesting.
Yes, it sounds like it.
And everything in this piece, in this part, except for the pearl and the crystals, came from my friend Jean's backyard in Medicine Park. We were just digging. I mean, bottom of a plate,
Uh-huh.
glasses, somebody's pottery, the beer bottle tops,
Right,
stones,
right, the
rusty
Coca-Cola bottle.
nail, a key. I
That's
mean,
a Coca-Cola
and-
bottle right there, isn't
Uh-huh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I've got all this stuff. Okay, I'll start laying. And they honestly don't speak to me in a voice, you know,
Right, right.
I'm a little crazy, but I'm not that crazy. But it's just like I feel where to put them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The same way with these stones. I just, you know,
Uh-huh.
I don't cut them to make them fit. They
It's
just,
like a puzzle.
You
It's like a
cut, you
puzzle.
pre-cut
I
them.
do cut some pieces, but most of them are just like I found them. And I just make them fit.
Uh-huh. But you can tell, I mean, even as, I'm gonna step up here, even as kind of chaotic as all of this looks, you can tell that you still have order because it's
Yeah.
all inside that squared
It's
off
kind of like
perimeter. It's
me. I'm kind of like organized chaos.
There you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
sometimes you think, oh, she's so organized. But inside me, it's just.
Yeah.
I look organized.
Yeah, you can pull it off on the outside. Nobody
Yeah.
sees on the inside. Yeah. Well, Angie, hop over here with us. And ladies, you want us to move over there? Is this okay? I thought maybe instead of moving some more, come over this way a little bit.
Right
There, how's
right
that? Oh, he wants us to move
Okay.
over there.
by. Okay.
Here we go. We do whatever the cameraman says around here. Okay, yeah, I have to agree. It is much brighter. This has been a super fun trail talk.
Good.
I have loved it. I hope that
Thank you for having
you've had
us.
fun
Yes.
sharing the
Yeah.
insight, the stories behind the art. I mean, I just love all that. And viewers, I hope that maybe you've seen something that has inspired you or something maybe you'd like to add to your own collection
Yeah.
at your house, something
Yep.
that just seems like you need it. So if you have questions about how to find that, go to our website, call us at 252-6692. Or you can look at their Facebook pages. Their art is available on there. So we have a lot of ways for you to be able to get some of these.
Yeah, and come and see it if you can, because it's really beautiful, hanging on the wall. They've done such a nice job. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks very
This,
nice.
really pretty.
it looks
Yeah.
really great in here. It
Yeah.
seems like the color of the walls was
Yes.
perfect,
Yes.
perfect for
Yeah.
your collection that you
Yeah.
brought in here.
Yeah.
Now, Saturday, we are having a gathering here at the Heritage Center from 2 to 6 in the afternoon called Raining in the Arts.
Yes.
We're gonna have Native American dancers,
Oh, wow.
musicians,
Nice.
some heartbeat dancers from a little dance studio here in town, Cowboy Poetry.
Oh, wow.
Food truck, wine and beer garden. It's going to be a very fun. There's going to be some chalk art going on, kid projects. I mean, everything.
Good.
Kids can come and do.
That's
We're
great.
going to have rock painting and then leather. Yeah, the Chisholm Trail Arts Council will be here.
Great.
I mean, we just have a whole bunch of things, something for everyone. So if you're looking for something to do on Saturday afternoon, come by here. And the museum, there's no charge that day, so you could come in and
for
come through
free.
and see Broken Beauty
Yep.
and just make a day of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, ladies, thanks again.
Thank you.
for
Thanks for
coming.
listening.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
for
sorry
sure.
I talked about things.
That's what made it the show, right? Yeah, I was trying to give us one of these. So, okay, so whenever the trail talk is over, we sign off by saying happy trails together.
Do I have to sing it?
No, we just say it, please. No, I want the show to continue. Then ban it if I sang it, if I sang this, okay? So Suzanne, do you want to unmute your, or Scott will unmute for you so you can say happy trails with us?
I will.
So on 3, ladies, 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
Happy
trails.
Happy trails.
Bye.
Bye.